All right, here we are, the third movie of our horror movie marathon night, and it is Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama. Yes, this is an old favorite. Unlike the previous two, this is one that I've seen before many times. It is an old cheeseball sleaze fest masterpiece from the 80s. As it was right there on Shudder as I was looking, I was like, how can I not indulge the inner 12-year-old in me and watch some cheesy, sleazy horror film. I believe it was released in the UK under the title The Imp, and I certainly remember that VHS box art because it had the little demon guy with his dark glasses on, like right up, and it had The Imp written underneath. And like, because people like Linnea Quigley and Michelle Bauer and so on were not names in the UK quite in the way that they're names in the US, certainly amongst the kind of cult film fans, they were nowhere really to be seen on the cover. It was just this like big face, the big rubbery face of the Imp, and the words The Imp. And I remember that vividly growing up. I actually saw this movie much later under its original title, and only recently found out that The Imp, the thing that I'd seen my whole childhood going into video stores, was in fact this movie. I'm really looking forward to this, and I will be back after the film to give you my lowdown on all the good bits. Alright, so that's it for the Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama, and what a fun experience that movie is. It's certainly a movie I don't think 90% of the content could be in a movie today. The full frontal nudity, especially all the pubic hair, especially all the pubic hair. What some would see as a racially insensitive voiced demon imp would probably not be allowed to do that today. You wouldn't be able to have any of the kind of like sorority stuff at the beginning with the butt slapping and the showering and all that kind of stuff. It would all be very different today. However, there is of course the fact that in this movie, whereas you would normally have a male hero protagonist and a woman being saved by him, they actually do a little gender reversal, and despite the massive amount of female nudity and exploitation that's going on in the movie, you do get Linnea Quigley as essentially the strong hero type, and then her nerdy, geeky sidekick with the glasses, who is pretty much ineffectual and vomits throughout the entire movie, despite not eating anything and only drinking one beer. So there is that, I suppose, where I mean, I don't even know if it's conscious. I don't even know if the director was like, well, we better whip in something that isn't, you know, or can't be deemed as sexist or whatever. But anyway, it's a good old-fashioned 80s exploitation, made-for-no-money movie. And yes, I mean, it sort of falls into my whole indie movies and B-movies and horror movies in the 80s were more creative, sort of, just because it's so bizarre, just because it's literally a stream of consciousness. Stuff happens for absolutely no reason and kind of bumps into other stuff that's happening for no reason and just keeps bumping into other stuff that's happening for no reason. And it's certainly joyous. That's one thing you can say about its creativity. It's sort of mad and joyous and doesn't really give a fuck what you think, which in 2018 is sort of liberating in its own way, despite what I'm sure what a lot of people these days would see as negative aspects of the movie. The best thing, one of the best things about B movies or genre movies such as this from the 80s is that while of course video camcorders were on the market just about, and there was certainly a rise of shot on VHS movies, most movies that were intended for either drive-in or a cinema or even going to video audiences were shot on film, which always gives the B movies of the 80s just a slight leg up on the shot on cheap digital B movies of today. Because even with the best HD video camcorder that you could pick up in Target, sure, you'll get a good quality picture out of it. You can project it as large as you like because it'll probably be 1080p. But you can always tell, unless you have good cinematographers or unless you have good lighting or unless you have something, you can always tell that it was just shot on video. There's something about that shot and film thing that even for a movie called Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama elevates it just that little bit over its counterparts today. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, it's a full moon special, meaning Charles Band is somewhere behind it with its little grubby mitts going, how quick, how cheap can you film this, and how much money can I make off it in this video market today? So I would check it out. It's available on Shudder, it's available on Amazon Prime, and it's probably somewhere on Full Moon Streaming as well. It's worth a look-see. Shock your delicate millennial sensibilities and watch some naked chicks with some enormous pubic hair and a little imp causing a lot of issues. And please don't forget to check out the awesome written review of The Imp or Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama over at aftermoviediner.com, written by awesome contributor and fantastic writer Michael Campochiaro. He did a great cult classic review of it, so go check that out over at aftermoviediner.com. Thanks.